All right, well, as cool as it looks, right, we've obviously got to do some equipment upgrades. And you know what we need to do? We need to start a new episode, and we just keep on cruising here. Welcome back again, friends, to another episode of Tactical Enlightenment. Our YouTube channel is dedicated to all things Bannerlord related. You continue, or you are watching our Bandit playthrough, our Bedouin Empire Revolution here, and Bannerlord 1.5 Tactical Enlightenment. We're dedicated to Bannerlord. I love Bannerlord, and this is an amazing new update. Of course, 1.5 brings in this invasion mode, which is amazing, right? It brings in incredible difficulty here as our enemy surges across the landscape. Our enemy in this chosen campaign is the Khazate. You can choose when you choose these alternate starting options. We went with Khazate. We went with more rebellions, and we went with large looter parties, large bandit parties, and we're going to try to make the most of it here with Khazad and eventually a bunch of camels. Now, we honestly haven't had that many land battles. We haven't had many open field land battles, right? We're still running around on a horse, and I think we might have a camel, and that's definitely going to come. There will be a stage where we're running around with a camel with this crew, and we're obviously going to get other companions also on camels. So we just had a crazy episode. If you didn't see it, it's hard to recap. There was so much chaos and carnage and battles and open field everything, open ocean everything. We've been we've been mercenary for the Aserai for a good part here, and really trying to stop the tides of the enemy from pouring across the land here. The Botanians are on life support. The Western Empire is on life support. The Valandians are being knocked around. And the Aserai, of course, is probably doing the best out of everybody, and that's because, well, at least partly because we're down here. Right? We have been roaming around with our band here of 69 troops. And it's all bandits, or at least it should be. We're going to continue to stick to bandits, militia, and minor clans. We've got the Grand Prince, and it looks like, you know, we've got the Sturgeon Prince as a prisoner. Nah, he's Khazate as well. So that's the nature of this campaign. We're up against it, and I think it's great, right? It's going to cause us to use some unusual tactics and get intentional with a lot of our decisions, even more thoughtful with our decisions here. So almost a one-man army trying to slow the tide of these never-ending Khazate armies. There's two here. There's three up north. Everywhere you look, there's a Khazate force, and that's because they have all these extra clans. So what to do here? Well, I think we've got to regroup and recover. I was thinking about entering this castle and defending it, but there is a point where you just can't do it, right? Where there's no such thing as a miracle in Bannerlord. You still have to have some semblance of a plan to win, and with 12 sea raiders and 4 sea raiders, and it's just not enough. I don't think we can make a reasonable square here at the gate. I don't think we can play defense with 69 troops. So some guys might love this opportunity here. There are 4 catapults, right? We could beat the crap out of their siege weapons here, but this is a rare instance where you're going to see us take discretion as the better part of valor. For all I know, there might be more Khazate armies coming, right? We might jump in, and instead of 1,200, it's 3,800 or something like that. So we're going to try to recruit bandits in this campaign. We do have the perk that allows you to recruit bandits. We're still getting deserters, but they're weak deserters, right? Or at least they're lower end deserters. And the good news is if we can get bandits to join our... Actually, we've got pretty good looking bandits here. We need to heal is what we need. We just need a little R&R in this campaign. And if you look around, Hubyar is the only city that we can conceivably rest at. So I saw some bandits this direction earlier. There's a hideout here. We've been leaving hideouts some of the time because it's a bandit potential factory for us. We can run over here. I don't think we're going to waste time on that, actually. And look for bandits and hope that they're willing to surrender and join our kingdom. Now, Jemiah Castle fell. I would guess Hubyar or Askar. Those are the 2 most likely targets for this enemy force, and this is exactly what you're hoping for, right? Come and join us. And they still have to surrender, right? So if they do this, I'm actually just saying never mind, right? I'm hoping that either later on, if there's enough time, something changes with the mechanics to that, right? It's basically, it seems like it's RNG. It also has to do with the size of the force, right? If your power bar just dominates them, I think they're a lot more likely to surrender. So, unfortunately, it's an additional negative of us being so beat up in this campaign, as nobody seems to want to join our little raggedy band here. Maybe these guys? Come on. none of them will join, right? So I'm a little frustrated here. And we are recruiting some as prisoners, but we really need, you know, more bandits in this campaign. Really, I just need to heal, catch my breath here after that last episode. And sometimes I do this off camera, but I've sort of committed to doing more of this in game. Now, I expect to see Hubyar get lit up in siege, either that or Askar here, 557 here at Askar. There's only 365 in Hubyar, right? So my money's on Hubyar being besieged. It may not happen, of course, right? I can just be, you guys win my money if I'm wrong, but we're going to head that direction. It's curious, actually, that nothing is sieged here. Well, there's your answer, right? Instead, they're choosing a little castle here. Come on, join. Nobody will join. Man, that's frustrating. We experienced this earlier. What's weird is I had a force of 80 join us. It almost seems like it's RNG. It probably is RNG. 80 wouldn't, or 39 or whatever, they won't join, but 80 will join you. And of course, you might be saying, well, you're getting deserters. Why do you need these guys to even join you? Because it allows us to fight in battles that we wouldn't be able to ordinarily. If we have 190, 200 troops, we can make, you know, defenses of difficult situations or attack a large force. When you have 100, very difficult to do things in Bannerlord. So I'm a little bit bereft here of ideas. I guess we could try this. This is an awful castle to defend. If you've ever defended Ain Balik, it's one of the worst. The enemy's escaping. We're still getting deserters. And I would defend one of these cities here. Let's jump in our fleet. Sometimes, you know, if you don't have an idea, just jump in your fleet. And we've had some Corsairs join us, right? We've had more luck, for whatever reason, with the Corsairs joining our ship. Maybe these battle wreckages will yield something good here. But I'm not sure where to proceed from here, right? We've got to operate as essentially leave the wounded. As, you know, as a smooth operator, right? We need to definitely take every advantage we can here. 376. Maybe we can corral some bandits in here. See, if I have 200 forces, I think we can defend that. 200 before we sneak in. But 140 I don't think works. I don't know if I've mentioned it too, by the way. There are armies, pirates now, of like 20. Basically, Tailworld said, well, there's no equivalent of like, you know, a 12 looters in the game. So let's put, and I haven't seen it yet, but I imagine it's a single ship of like 20 troops, right? And obviously that's going to be a lot easier for players to fight early in a campaign. And Zionica's under siege, and we might just get captured in this campaign. Everything is on fire. Every castle is besieged. And I guess we could just race to vassalage, but that doesn't seem like a fun plan here. I want a lot more money than we have too, right? We're going to have to pay for all kinds of mercenary forces. And let's try this. I don't see, for whatever reason, sometimes there's no bandits anywhere. We're going to try to do this shit here. It's risky, but we had some risky battles last episode and it worked out for us. So let's take some more risk here. And eventually you play craps enough, you're going to crap out, right? You're going to lose all your shit. So hopefully this isn't the battle. We lose all our shit. And I didn't even look. What have we got? 1 catapult, 2 catapults. I see 4 catapults. We're winning this shit here, right? As long as they're in decent spots, a couple good fire catapults, we can win this shit. And, you know, you don't really want to siege defense your way through a campaign, partly, especially on YouTube, because it's monotonous. But sometimes they're hella exciting. We've already had some really exciting battles in this campaign, and I don't feel like I have a lot of options at this stage with this army that we have right here. Like this force is still pretty small. I have 8 divisions here. Let's see. We have lots of infantry. So let's get intentional. Let's get intelligent here. 4th division, hold fire. Let's combine this 3rd with the 1st. Make sure there's a good solid 50 at the gate. Splat, splat, right? That's always a good sound. Those are fire catapults blowing up the enemy left and right. Let's get some archers down here. Sometimes there's ladders over here. So let's get archers right here. 3rd division can guard over there. Regular catapult. Okay, hopefully a fire catapult. There's a fire catapult for sure. And it's almost worth waiting to see the contrails of the fire catapult. I'm going to spread all the other archers out from here. And here we go. Right? Juicy. Now, the enemy's a long ways away, but I think from here, we can hit the enemy at multiple locations, right? Not only, of course, are we going to be able to fire these, but we're going to be able to throw them. I might even be able to hit those guys right there. Right? These guys are down here in a clump. This guy works out, right? He can throw shit. How's that? So let's get these archers spread out. The far side is a problem, right? Just like the great cartoon. So there was no problem with that cartoon, but the far portion of this castle, in a situation like this, the biggest problem with it is I can't micromanage way down there, and obviously we don't get the setup here because we're just a lowly mercenary, so I don't have a lot of time here to try to figure out what's coming where. There is a tower coming down there, right? That's a big time problem because I can't get over there without running down there. It's going to take me a long time to run over there. By the time we do, as this guy smokes a militia and then trash talks him. I got a tower over here too, right? I'm damned if I do, damned if I don't. And I think we're just going to sit right here. And it's another one of those castles where you can't hit the troops very well with catapults. I might be able to... No, I can't. I can't turn it anymore. So you know what we're going to do here? We're just going to... Let's see if I can... I remember a guy saying you can basically turn these off. I don't know if you can do that. You know, it's supposed to give you the gears. I don't know. I don't think you can do that if it's not your castle, right? These are not our catapults. I don't think I can do that. Fellow was saying you can save a lot of ammo by just having your troops turn the catapult off, so to speak. You can basically, you know, hit the switch, hit the light switch on it, and that way, you know, that catapult is turned off. I don't think I can do that here. The good news is he's not wasting his ammo because there's nothing for him to shoot at, right? He's just sitting on the catapult. Meanwhile, I got the enemy in a barrel here. It's the other side, though, that's a big-time problem in this instance here, right? And 147 troops on that far side. These guys here are baked, right? They're absolutely cooked. Even if they get up here, they're going to get smoked. And most of them aren't going to make it up. That handled most of them. They're starting to pull back. Let's arc one out here on these guys. And I think I got to just ignore this side over here, right? The enemy's in dire straits. We can probably get the ram a shot or two here, right? The ram should be close. A couple of these throws. Right, we get a nice sweet shot there. This one I'll throw straight down on top of them. We've got a little bit of militia force in here, but they're obviously going to get worked once this enemy force is inside the castle. I think those are standard rocks, right? I think I can actually do some really good work with these rocks. This guy's helping me out here, too. He's throwing. Good job, lad. And all I hear is death over there on the right. So the right is a real problem here, and I'm going to throw 4 or 5 rocks and then start worrying about that left side here. We are battering the enemy with rocks, though, here. It's, you know, the story's out at this stage, right? You throw rocks in Bannerlord, you win siege defense. I've got even more here. We're gaining levels left and right. And I see enemy forces just running over here. They're going to come right here probably. Let's see what they do. They're not letting them storm this fucking courtyard, that's for sure. Not where all our archers are. And we can get this division too. This 4th division, we've had these guys hold fire. Here's where it's going to be helpful. Right? We've got all these skirmishers down here with me. Fire, boys, right? Watch these javelins fly. They flung them everywhere, right? Hopefully it's going to smoke these guys here. I'm actually going to have these guys hold fire. I don't want them throwing every javelin in case there's an urgent target somewhere else. Looks pretty good. The enemy's stacked up there pretty good, right? Let them have it, boys. And it's just going to be kaboom, kaboom, kaboom. And I'll be able to easily reload here. I'm doing a great job. These guys are just firing away. It's beautiful. Those are AI units that are just shoving their way up there. Those aren't our troops, I think. Maybe they're trying to get to a catapult. Those forces just shoved their way up there. This guy fell into a bad place. It's not where you want to be. These guys are like in the dungeon. And I think they just tried to run. And siege us all. So, a little bit of a quandary here, obviously, right? Because we could probably do this until my character's level 50, but you guys don't want to watch that, right? We'll do a few of these in this campaign. They're not all that easy, right? That was really easy, right? We basically just filled them full of sharp sticks, threw rocks, and killed the first 300. Now, they're still not completely defeated. Let's see how many are left here. We're going to sally out. We got enough forces to make sure that they don't reload, that they don't get away here. So I actually like this part. I don't like it as much when you don't get any loot. Fortunately, we've got Jarl Snow's loot after retreat mod, and that's realistic, right? All those troops inside the castle, you order all your little grubby bandits, loot those guys, right? Strip the dead, to hell with sacrilege. And right here, you're just like, yeah, we charge. Character's just ripping the levels now. And I think probably just keep punching engineer. We don't have a dedicated engineer. I've got this skill set. I guess eventually we do some two-handed. We could do some bosun skill too. BOSN is basically how it's pronounced. I guess that makes sense. Engineering would be good as well. Long-term especially. And we don't even have to fight. You just capture them. I'm not thrilled about that. I guess if it's lopsided, that should happen. But that seemed like they had a shot to fight back there. And we'll take some of these troops, right? These are actually troops I can use. The rest of them are not, but we'll take looters. We'll take some militia into our force. And they don't have any prisoners we can really use here. A couple militia. I guess we'll chuck them into the ranks. And I'm trying not to scan through here slowly, methodically, and just take all the time and waste your time out there, right? I recognize that the fellas watching this, right? Your time is valuable, so we'll do our best here to do a little combination of the two, right? I've got to spend enough time here to make good decisions. And we want to return, approach the gates, request entry, because we would like to donate. Shit, their dungeon is full. We got too many... We got too many prisoners in there already. All right, well, let's try to get back on our boat without having deserters. Probably not going to happen. Maybe. All right, we made it. Okay. So what else is under siege here, right? We just go... I feel like a firefighter again. I'm just running from spot fire to spot fire. And another situation here that's probably not tenable. This city is not easy to defend. And there's almost 7 to 1 outnumbered. By the time we get there, they're probably down to 50 troops. And so another firefighter skill, triage. You just give it up for dead, right? We're going to look for the next location where we can help here. But it really does feel like I'm putting out spot fires in a raging windstorm, and success is impossible. I mean, we'll see. We're not about to give up, but it really feels like this campaign, I don't know if we can recover this one, folks. See if there's anything here that we can use. We're starting to get some better equipment. I think I'm going to buy this because we may use this with our main character. I think too it's time to do a workshop here, right? Let's you know, if you want better equipment, one of the ways you can do it in game is we talk to these guys here, and you want to make sure there's a smith here, right? I don't think there's one right now, because usually a smith brings nice equipment, right? So in lieu of a smith though, what I can do is I can buy a workshop and just change it to a smith, right? These are not revolutionary ideas, but some people don't know this, right? That you can change your workshops. So you get a little extra content today with this episode. So what I'm going to do here is I go to this button here, and I go other, and I'm going to keep one of them as a brewery, and then the other one we're going to change right here to a smith. Actually, you know what? I'm going to change both of them. Sonala is probably the city we're going to be able to hold the longest. So I'm going to change them both. I think it costs you a little bit of money, right? We're going to do a wood workshop and a smith. And all of this shit here, this is when they're making all this shit, shields and ranged weapons. That means there can be legendary large bags of Jarids here, right? And then you say this, say that, because long term we're going to look for iron and hardwood to put into this city. I don't think we have much right now. You can peek here. There's probably something, right? It's a big city, and there actually isn't any. Do we have any? Okay, see, I've got some iron, and I have a little bit of hardwood. So suddenly in this campaign, we're looking for both of those too, right? Because, well, that'll do, in addition to making us money, which is not a big benefit. We don't really need the money. The biggest benefit here, though, is there's going to be nice equipment in this city for us to come back and buy at a later point. Where's the iron? That was the iron and hardwood. There's like 12. There we go. Now they'll go through that quickly, right? By hitting that button, basically use inputs from the warehouse, and then I don't want them to store it there. Basically, what that does is it'll put the output into the city in the form of nicer weapons. So the next time that I come in here, there should be some pretty nice weapons for us. Now we want to go to here, and we say here, and then we donate prisoners. I don't know. I was going to say, we don't have that many left. It's still good influence, right? And we're still getting paid for it. And, of course, toss those prisoners in the dungeon. Have some of that, because they... All right. Let's go to the port. Set sail. What the hell do we do now? Charis is a problem. Quiaz. Nothing happening right now, but that's bound to change. Ascar 700. We've got a good enough force here, but I wouldn't mind capturing some sea raiders. One of the nice benefits of being at sea is no deserters, right? So I can get 60, 70, 80 over the limit here, and the only thing it does is slow us down. But because we have 3 big ships, shit, I just realized we have way too many ships. We got to sell some of these ships here. It's part of the reason we're trudging along. Let's manage fleets. I think we have like 18 ships still. We're going to sell most of these. Oh, shit. I forgot you can moor ships, too, right? That's a thing now. You go into here and, you know, they're parked in your garage. Now, if you lose that city to enemy forces, they're gone, right? So, in this instance here, I'm just going to sell, unless these ships are awesome. Like we have one Battle-Nar. I actually really like these ships because they're pretty good amount of troops. They've got a ballista. It's a lot less troops, though. I think we're gonna sell them. Actually, you know what? Let's moor them. That makes sense, right? I was just saying we can save them for later. Those ships I might use later on, right? We might even use... Yeah, we've got a Drakkar. This is badass. I don't know who we got that from, but that's really nice. Of course, I just clicked the button so fast a lot of times during battle, I don't even always see it. That's kind of feedback you folks can leave, too, if you like. Can you just slow down a little bit? You know, when you play this much, a lot of this becomes second nature. But, you know, obviously I should recognize, I do recognize that there's people watching that are trying to learn. And I'm clicking and moving so fast you can't even see what the hell's going on, right? So I'll do my best here for you folks. All right, so we've got 3 giant ships. There's no ballista on that. Let's go ahead and moor this big ship. Because what this does is it allows us to move fast. We can still carry 300 troops. We can upgrade the Drakkar here, maybe. But it can't have a ballista, right? And so what I do from a battle strategy is that ship goes in first, right? Those guys are... You put some quivers on there. That way you have lots of javelins to throw. That ship's your infantry boat, the Drakkar. And then your 2 ballista boats, those guys hang back at the beginning, right? I'm going to continue to use this Gurab as our main ship. And let's go ahead and put this figurehead on there. It helps us a little. I think that helps us move faster, right? Sail force 10%. We've got plenty of money still. So upgrades are definitely worth it for this. And you always, you know, anytime you see a pause like that with war sales, you still worry it's going to freeze. But I'll be honest, it's been pretty stable, right? We haven't had, I think we've had 1 crash in about maybe 12 to 15 hours of gameplay. There's nothing I can do there. I think I'm going to loiter in this area. There's likely to be enemy forces, allied forces maybe where we can participate, and hopefully pirates too, right? And we must be overburdened. Damn. So that doesn't help. You got to be able to run your enemy down, right? If your ships are really slow, you're not catching anything, right? So I got to start being a little bit more careful with our encumbrance. Basically, when you lose your, not lose it, I sold it. When you lose your cargo ship, you got to dump or sell more shit here. So Zionica gone. Right, those forces are coming. The Western Empire is afloat here, though, right? They're not dead. They've got a city, 2 castles. The Vlandians have... They're actually doing all right, right? They've got 3 cities and 3 castles, but you don't see them counter-sieging anywhere. Our allies, the Aserai are barely making armies, right? I don't see any right now, right? The bottom line is we don't have the resources to make big armies. We don't have lots of troops. Let's go to Ortesia here and sell some of this extra shit. Now, ultimately, I think the The rebellions help us here because it does take probably more from the enemy than it does from us. In other words, they're going to suffer a lot of rebellions. They have a lot of cities, right? And a lot of them, of course, are recently taken. They're going to be ripe for war here. Now, I'm way over. This is the main reason. We just have way too much food. So sell some of this shit. And now we can sell a little bit of equipment here and get back out on the water. Harnesses are really heavy too. You want to check your harnesses. A lot of your harnesses weigh a lot, right? Sell that shit. And this is nice money too, although we're doing pretty well at this stage. And what else is weighing us down here so much? Some of the loose goods sometimes. I mean, we're not terribly over encumbered now, but we're still over encumbered. I guess let's just see what it looks like. And I think we can have another companion. Are we clan tier 4 yet? I haven't been keeping that close, so we're still clan tier 3. And I forgot there is something I want now. When I visit cities, you're going to see me buy a hardwood. We're not going to get crazy with it, but if they have 20, 30, we'll take it. Same thing with iron. It's just a process you want to do. When you have a workshop somewhere, you want to take advantage of that. Now, I know that's more weight, and we're still going to be encumbered, but it shouldn't be too bad, right? 4.7 is actually cruising, although I think that's our land speed. Yeah, 4.0. That's not terrible. We're still suffering a little overburden, but it's not awful. All right, let me think here. Khazate forces. I can't believe Hubyar wasn't sieged, and it's rebelling. Hubyar is gone, right? You could just see the writings on the wall. The rebelling thing is a real killer here for us, too, because the enemy's on the assault. If we don't have cities with good loyalty, they're going to have no militia, because the city's going to be rebelling. I don't know exactly what level the militia doesn't fight here, but Hubyar has a loyalty of 39. Normally, there would be a militia there, but with this new mod, there isn't one, right? Or more accurately, with this new game mode, we have the additional rebellions on, right? Where the enemy is just eager to rebel. And there's kind of an ominous silence here, right? There's nothing sieged anywhere. See if we can't find some bandits or action or siege or something. There's got to be something here. We can dump that hardwood in here. Now, Sinala will definitely defend, right? There's a good-sized militia and a garrison there. Sinala tends to be kind of the Aserai capital. And this is weird. All of a sudden, it's almost like there's peace. We're still at war with everybody, right? What happened here? Yeah. And the power bar is great, right? We're not going to view this a lot during this campaign, but that shit's epic. The Aserai are in pretty good shape here, right? They've got 3 or 4 cities, 3 or 4 castles, and that power bar is comical. They're just absolutely monstrously overpowered compared to our little pathetic kingdom. We're relegated to raiding is what it looks like. You don't see, you know, a big Aserai force ripping things up, right? You see lots of little raiders. And not sure how to help here. I definitely can't siege you, right? We're absolutely and utterly left to defending, right? So here's another siege opportunity for us. I have no idea what Aristochorus Castle looks like. I'd like to get some bandits before we get up there, just like before. But there were 300 defenders, right? Oh, shit. That's like an incredible amount of forces sieging. Wow. You know what? It's been a little bit quiet. To hell with caution, right? We're going to get into this castle. The whole Khazate force seems like they're assaulting this one castle. We're going to try to get in. I'm still hoping, praying that there's some sea raiders here, right? It doesn't look like it's going to happen. And that's a hilarious looking force. I mean, we've definitely seen bigger. That's what she said. But we're going to get inside this castle and defend. You can access there, but I think we'll just... You know what? I can't get up here. There you go. Get some deserters. That's okay. All right. Those are all fair troops we can bring in here. We got a couple 3 catapults. That's going to help. Don't know what this castle looks like. Don't know what our chances are to win here. Don't give a fuck. In we go. And that's grim, right? Little tiny power bar. Doesn't get much smaller than that. That's also what she said. And in we go here. Let's make sure this is set to the hardest. And we want to make sure that's also set to the highest, right? You got to set that to the highest. Otherwise, you get like 6 archers. I guess it would still be after our previous siege. Sometimes I like to double check, though, right? This kind of siege, we're going to have a good start here. We're going to have to disable whatever catapult or whatever siege tower we can. And don't freeze, baby. It's not good that it's taken that long. And this is interesting. I don't know if I've ever seen this castle before here. I know this castle. We need a good chunk of square at the gate here. This is Yogura's castle, and I don't know if I've ever seen it. Not, you know, outside of a situation where it was at Yogura's. In other words, I always thought that this castle layout was one of a kind. There was one on the map, right? There's a few castles in the game, not very many, but there's only one of them, basically. And that's what I thought Yogura's was. Clearly, I'm wrong. It's interesting. Let's put that infantry again there. Hold fire. And how many? There's 8 here. All right. We got to find ourselves a fire catapult. And pronto. Catapult there. It's defendable, though. This is definitely going to be a defendable castle. But how many are we up against here, right? And where's the damn catapults? I thought it said there were 3 or 4. I went to the wrong side, I guess. It's over here. It's up here, right? Where the hell? There's no catapults up here. That's really bad, right? Because the enemy is going to... They're going to be pouring through the gate. I want to leave. I think we're cooked here. I don't think there's any way we can defend this. There's no fire catapults above the gate. I don't know if I've ever seen that before. The good news is we're going to be able, now that we're right here, we're going to be able to pound the enemy, right? Capital P, pound them. And there's a nice shot. I've got a good solid 10. And those are fire catapults up there, right? I think. I couldn't quite tell. These guys here at the gate could not be more fish in a barrel. It's just going to be the whole screen, lords, and I'm going to be able to throw them. And it's tempting here to destroy this siege tower, but especially if that's a fire catapult, you don't destroy it, right? Let them bring that up, right? You want them to get that thing up to the walls. And it is a fire catapult, right? So you're basically hoping that that thing gets up here. Right? The sooner it gets up here, the better. And it's worth me pretty soon flinging these fireballs. I think I can arc it most of the way out there. And I could destroy the gate, the ram too, right? We could definitely aim for the ram. In fact, I think that makes sense here. This might be a multi-round siege defense. The reason you destroy the ram here is obviously if the enemy starts pouring through the ram, or you try to destroy the ram, it might not be possible. What'll happen, of course, is they'll overwhelm the inner defenses while I can't help it. We gotta hit that ram another couple times, I think. I think it just broke. Now the AI, look what the AI is doing, son of a bitch. They're not undeterred. They're not deterred. They're still coming in. Out of the way, lads. I'm in a hurry. I'm a little nervous now. We got these guys in a barrel. These guys are in a bad spot. It's going to take him, I don't know, a couple, 3 minutes here to get that door down. But I'll remind you at this stage, too, we don't have the normal Bannerlord siege defense here. It's harder. Basically, the easiest way to describe it is they're a lot more resolute. This enemy ain't they're not going to retreat here for a long time. And I just realized, if we can, you destroy these guys here on this catapult, too. It looks like the outer gate is down. I can't tell. And you guys don't get to attack our militia here. Have some of that fireballs. There's a bunch of troops right there. Now the gate is going to be, they're going to get through the gate. I might be able to destroy this just with the fire, with the rocks here, right? We do have some just regular regular rocks in this castle. Out of the way here before I start killing dudes. I don't know how long that's going to hold up there. Not forever, that's for sure. They shouldn't be through the gate yet, right? They're trying to manually break it up there. They're going to get in. I got this here. See, they're down there pounding on that gate, and I can't see the health of it. All right, let's speed this up just a touch. I got to try to break this tower now. We've done some good damage on this side. We destroyed the other side. Now we got to get some good shots here. That remains about the only purpose, by the way, for throwing axes. Right? And I'm working on an episode, if I haven't released it already, is basically the only purpose for throwing axes in this whole freaking game is destroying siege weapons. That's not entirely true. They do have a few very small advantages, but not very many. Javelins are so superior to throwing axes that the episode essentially is going to be me begging Tailworlds, make them better, right? Make throwing axes usable, because in their current form, they're really not very usable. Now, this is taking a lot longer than I anticipated to destroy that siege tower. I wonder if I have a catapult I can use to hit that siege tower. I think we have one more catapult at work. That guy having a seizure in the wall. And I don't think that's going to be very tenable. Now, they're still not through, right? That's good. That guy, that little militia there, is working on him. He's doing 6. Every time he shoots, he's doing 4. It takes him 2 minutes, and he kills somebody. That's if every arrow hits. Still not through here, right? So, uh-oh. Although now they are, and we have experienced this before, and I don't know what to do, honestly, in this situation. The AI is stuck here, and I don't know if they will ever break that door. It's a philosophical dilemma, right? If I was playing by myself and maybe didn't give a shit, you just, you let the enemy beat on that until this siege is over. Now, this tower is down, so let's go ahead and just break it here. Okay, it's down. They might just rout. They did not rout. So here's what I think we do here. Now, this is just, to me, it's the morals of being a good sport in life. What you do here is you open the inner door. Actually, never mind. I'm glad I said all that shit, because here they come now. Let's get some of these other divisions. Let's use these javelins over here, this 3rd division. The 4th division, I'm just going to combine with the 1st, right? The enemy's going to pour through, and we've got to do our very best here to block up the gate so that this militia can get down there and join them. I got to get to those rocks. We got to do some killing here, and that's a bad-looking initial death span here as they throttle our weak troops. I do have some good rocks left here, though, right? Another 5 or 6, 7. Each shot is mauling the enemy. That's good. That looks good. And we do have, 130, 120, 130 forces here. I've got these guys here. I think they're on hold fire, right? Let's have these guys give them a volley here, right? We can have the enemy eat some javelins. I can fire a few in here as well. And there's enough militia here, I think, between all of our different resources here. Our allied militia, our little square. I'm going to be able to reload a lot. There's like 12 javelins right here on the ground. Now these guys are starting to sneak in here, right? These guys are... This side of the square will suffer because there's not really any archers that can help these guys here. So, let's see what we can do here. 7th Division. Let's get these guys over here. So that side should be clear, right? There shouldn't be any more enemy forces coming from that direction. It's basically a war of attrition now, right? And there's going to be a lot of attrition. Now, the militia in the short term is actually negative, right? What I mean by that is that right there in the center of the troop, that's the enemy militia. In the short term, they're bad for our scenario here because they're getting in the way of our archers that are trying to shoot. It does help a little bit overall in the siege here. As I reload, there's a little javelin store right here. Keep missing, boys. In the short term, they're slowing the enemy down a little bit, but it's also meaning that our archers up there don't have clean shots, right? We're going to use them here for another, 30 or 40 seconds because they're going to break down. And then the question is do we have enough bandits, right? Our bandits are going to be weak. If I look at them, there's Sea Raiders, or not Sea Raiders, but there's Corsairs. Those guys are wearing very light armor, right? We actually got to control one a little while ago, and they move fast. That's because they're wearing like sandals. Right? They're prepared for warm weather and vomit on the decks. They're not prepared for heavy blows from a savage force here. But the corpses are stacking up over here. The overall ingredients seem like they might be there, right, for us to still win this. I might have to try to get this square a little bit more jammed against the rocks there. That way they can't get to that side. Let's get even more archer firepower here. What do we have? The 2nd division is there. Put them in a shield wall there. This 5th division, they're probably fine there. And the good news is I do have this division. What is this? The 3rd? There's a lot of troops there too. The 5th division can join the 1st, or the 3rd division rather, can join the 1st. That's a lot of meat now in that division, even if it's weak meat. Those guys are all shooting. Those guys are mostly shooting. It looks about as good as we can do here. Right now we just have to kill the enemy. Okay, those guys are going up. I love it, man. Looters are throwing rocks. Get him, big boy. Now here's where I need a two-handed weapon. In fact, as soon as I see a guy with a two-handed weapon, I'm gonna try to scrounge on the ground. And our character's anything but inept now. Earlier in this campaign, this siege is impossible, right? Because our character can't kill anyone. He's still pretty weak though, right? What I need is a polearm. I need Ulfidnar, right? You need like a big savage polearm here. Because if I can get a polearm in this situation, I can kill every swing. I can kill something. And between our little tough square here of bandits and peasants, look at this guy up here. There's a single looter standing there looking around like, what are we doing? What's the square shit? All right, these guys can't see. Let's bring them down here. Still got this reserve division here, and that's amazing. They're using their slings and throwing rocks. It's not worthless, right? They're doing some kind of damage. How many of us have been hit by a rock and it did 12 damage, or it killed you, or whatever, right? It's not worthless here. It's just not very helpful. The very small gain, and there it is. That's the weapon I want, and I think I just got it. Oh, baby. All right. Now we got to get... Now we got to kill the rest of them. Now, unfortunately, there's going to be another wave here. Look at the power bar. And sometimes during our epic campaigns, as our looters run out throwing rocks, you got to love it. Sometimes during those campaigns, we will blot out the power bar. And you guys can leave your feedback if that's something you guys want to see, right? If you want to see us use the power bar. And this is not farming here. This is like important, right? These guys here, let's make them pay for sieging, right? We kill as many of these guys as we can. And of course it is farming, but it has a purpose, right? Where these forces are going to turn around and attack us if we don't kill them. So kill as many of them as you can. Now the big concern, of course, is that they build a bunch of better siege. After this siege, sometimes the AI will build 3-4 trebuchets. Anyways, to finish that point, we're probably not going to blot out the power bar too much in this campaign. You know, if I get a lot of guys who say they want to see it like that, then maybe that's what we'll do here. Is our little raggedy brigands. Kill them, lads. Look at this guy, a Corsair chief, and yeah, it's sweet. Look at this guy. He's got his bag, his sling bag, right? That's a looter. And that was great. All right, so that's 1,000. How many were there, though, right? Wasn't it 1,900 or something like that? And this is a lot of death. Not from our army, but from the garrison. So I hate to say premature celebration, but I definitely celebrated prematurely. Of course, I knew there was going to be another stage, or at least, you know, it was counting on another stage. It doesn't also mean that we're cooked here, but, you know, we're suffering serious attrition. Now, one of the beautiful things about Bannerlord is right here, I can leave. Right, you could break out from the gate and say, you know what? Let's cut our losses here and try to go. After all, look at the garrison. Look at this force sieging, right? And don't forget, of course, those guys that are healing, they're going to heal, right? Now, I don't think, I'll have to check. I don't think we've adjusted our medicine skill. One of the biggest glaring problems right now with the siege is this perk. It's this one. Your medicine skill partly applies to enemy casualties, including potential prisoners. Well, that works great for battles where you're trying to get prisoners to sell, but it's a disaster for siege. And I don't know for sure, but I bet our healer, who is our official healer, right? She's our certified healer in this campaign. I was going to say, I would have bet money she had that perk, because it seems like they suffered almost no losses there, right? I mean, trying to look at their force, 1,600. What happened here? I'm trying to... It says there's 8, 13, 14, 1,600, and it says what I see is like 500 or 600 wounded. So this force is still 2,000 strong. So what do you do here? Bye. Right? We got a whole bunch of perks for that. We got some loot. We're out of here. This is just not a castle we can defend. Not with 135. I mean, maybe, just maybe we could defend it, but you get captured, all your forces destroyed. Man, I can hear you guys saying, don't be a bitch, fight it. I tell you what, I'm going to stay unless they destroy our catapults. If they start building trebuchets, then you beat feet and run here. Right? We're actually, I think I can take over here and say, oh. We still don't have high enough engineering skill. I should be putting points here. But what we could do, of course, is we could build fire catapults if I was playing right, if I wasn't being a dumbass in this campaign. That's what we would have here. I mean, it's a great opportunity. It would be an amazing battle if we won. You know what? We're going to stay. We could capture, What the fuck, right? We're just bandits. It's not like we lose a force of 1,200. We should be able to recover our army quickly, and that's if we lose, right? If we win, it's fucking glorious. So I'm not going to worry about these perks. Except that one, right? This is a good reason. You need these perks. I'm going to do that one, and I want this bottom one, right? This bottom one, where is it? Yeah, the top one there. +5 hit points to troops in your party. It's not a huge deal, right? But that's every single troop in our army. Every single forest bandit and whatnot all get those perks. I don't care about the ship skills. Those aren't going to really matter. And we have a pretty full army here. Now, it's funny, we got 36 looters. It's obviously, it's not going to be able to hold back forever. But it's not going to be totally inept here either. And let's hope they're ballista. 1,700. I don't know if we can hope for any help here, right? And they're already sieging. They got one tower. The problem with that is ominous. They're going to have, play it out. They're going to have siege ladders here, right? That means they're going to rush those siege ladders. Again, to reiterate, we're using Jarl Snow's Siege Enhanced Siege AI. And one of the nasty parts, well, there's two of them, multiple nasty parts of it. One of them is they'll rush right for the ladders immediately and start storming troops on the wall. Once they get up, they try to open the door. Right, and we get a nighttime siege here. That's going to make this even harder. The power bar looks like something out of a horror movie. Again, stick about 50 troops here at the gate in a square. Let's put the 2nd Division right here. 3rd Division there. Hold fire. 4th Division over there. Catapults way over there. Archers here. Something like that. I'm going to have to get back in here later and adjust these divisions. I'm going to do it quick now. We might ride our horse all the way to that catapult. So important that these divisions are lined up. Catapult, catapult. I got to find out where the fire catapults are. That's a good sound, right? I heard an explosion, and I think you can still do this shit, right? We back up. You hear the truck backing up all the way onto the ramparts here. Beep, beep, beep. And now we go fast. Going faster than my character can move. Alright, so it's fire catapult again. It's going to really depend on where their siege tower is, where the ladders are, but I think we've done about as much as we can here to have success. Let's bring up some infantry here or we're going to get overwhelmed. Obviously, here's where the ladders are, right? So in the short term, let's kill a bunch of these troops because they're going to pretty quickly prevent our access to these, just like this, right? This guy's like moving in. That Ulfadnar probably one-shot my character. I got to get this division of infantry over here ASAP. And this is, again, that great AI from Jarl Snow. It makes siege harder. Some guys on Reddit are, oh, you're playing easy mode, man. I don't know what you're playing on, but it's probably harder than this shit. And look at what they're doing. They're all sudden, see them running like that? You know where they're trying to head to? The gate. They're trying to open the gate here and just finish this siege in a hurry. All right, we got to throw these as fast as I can. I got to talk as fast as I can here. And these troops, especially right in front of me, are prime targets because, of course, they're going to be the ones that come up the ladder. So, kill, kill, kill. I haven't even thought of the siege tower. I've got way too much on my mind to even worry about other things. This is triage. And at least I've got a good angle here to just fire these over and over. But there's a ton of troops coming. And look how many are pouring here this direction. Help a few of these guys. More fire catapults here. All right, all right, all right. Can't see the ram, or can't see the siege tower. Siege tower might be down, right? They might have already destroyed it. Let's try working on these troops for a few shots. Kaboom. That looks good, right? That's about as good a death spam as you can get. And let's start ripping this ram up. It's going to have its little cladding, right? That cladding prevents you from just two-shotting a ram. But it should be down pretty quick. That might have did it. It looks like pieces flew all over the place. And now, a lot of these troops gave up on the ram and they're running over here. Ah, this guy, he took it. Well, I want this shot then. Can I hit these guys on the wall? Have some of this. All right, I hear yelling and screaming down there, and you know what I think that is? That's the troops there, of course. Let's see. We're going to need more forces up here. These guys coming up the ladder are a real problem. That's an understatement, right? These troops are going to be way better than the troops we have inside this castle. Some of them are going to be weak like that. That looks like a lord, actually. It's an armed traitor. But the gate is the real problem, right? They get through that gate, we're cooked. It does look like most of their forces here are isolating on our location here, right? So we're going to have to work right in front of us here. And talk about a bad combo. That's not what you want. Two nasty Imperial Sergeant crossbow boring down on you. Get in here. This guy's out for me. All right. So once that breaks down, they're going to charge down there. I wonder if we can get guys here. First division right here. Third division, this other ladder. You just pull away from here, right? You don't try to defend that location I was just at. Let's bring archers over. I don't know if they're still working on the gate, but that's worrisome. Right? Somehow the gate's already open, right? Let's try to fix that. Close, baby. Oh. My horse is in the way here. Horse is not going to be of any use now. All right, so the gate is worrisome. I can't really put troops down here, though, right? We're obviously going to have a huge fracas on the wall. These forces here should do a decent job of blocking the enemy up. And this band looks really sad. Right? If the enemy starts coming to that side, we've got major problems. Fifth archers. We need archers just down here in huge forces. And that's actually a problem. The guys falling down are conceivably an issue for us here. Because, of course, if they fall down and then start mauling, or even worse, getting to the gate, right, that's obviously going to be advantage enemy. Now, we've got to put some kind of like firing squad down here so the enemy doesn't get to the gate. If the gate gets opened here, and I'm going to have to run back and forth and watch it, they are going to pour through there relentlessly. And the gate will be the end of this siege. Now, got these rocks, right? And so these I can use. I don't hear any other catapults going. And man, you talk about a motley crew. Now the good news is they're coming up those ladders. It's going to take a long time for them to trudge up those ladders. And yeah, this is a problem, right? These guys are going to come through here. And the next thing you know, they're attacking, which means I can't get up there. Those are militia, right? The bottom troops there, those are actually... Those obviously aren't our force. Let me think. Is it better to jam them up on the walls up there or right here? Probably right here, right? These archers are just going to spray everything. And they're going to have a hard time getting through here. In fact, look at this shit. This is great. It's one of the parts I love about Bannerlord. There's a little tavern here. We're going to use this shit, right? Spread out troops right there. I got a little hand grenade here. I don't think I can really use it. Get on this tower and take a look at what's going on. I can arc that shit over there, and there's like 900 troops piled up on the ladder there. The AI might rout here again. I don't think this is a winning situation for them. Them coming down the ladder 6 at a time. They might start to rally troops up there, and they might not. I don't think they can get here with the forces we have assigned to that side of the castle. We might have the enemy again checkmate in this situation, which would be beautiful. Now, if this siege takes 12 hours, maybe we'll do some editing and maybe not. Right? Sometimes guys are like, I can't believe you edited that shit. It was an epic siege. Always hard to know, you know, what's boring to one guy is fascinating to the next. Now, we're at the point where, barring reinforcements, you put archers on the walls here. These guys are wholly exposed to this little ship configuration thing on that far side. So let's see what we got. We've got like 4 or 5 divisions over here. I think we could probably pull a couple, 3 archer divisions to the other side here and just kind of see what happens, right? You don't need them getting smoked. I see a few arrows coming my way, but not a lot. Right? Oh, and I didn't see this. We got a catapult here. Not sure if those guys are going to be vulnerable or not. You guys can't hit anything, huh? This guy, he's trying to turn it. He's like desperately trying to turn it. I guess not. Otherwise, he would fire, right? Let me see this shit. All right, those guys got a nice little angle there. They're not racking up the kills necessarily. Get over there, bandits, right? The death spam looks great. Right? It's 80%, 90% green, right? You hardly see any of our guys getting killed. The enemy's being lit up. We got archers behind him now. I can add to the misery. The occasional... They put their shields up. The guys down there were like, hold your shields up, man. There's a rock coming in. Man, ain't gonna help you. I got enough here, I think, to kill another 70, 80 troops, and kind of be surprised if the AI doesn't rout here again. It's tempting to try to get some troops outside, but you try to sally out here and all hell breaks loose. I think we just stick to the equation we have here, even though it's, you know, it's not as dramatic as you'd like to see. It shows, you know, how nasty defense is. And of course, this is the whole purpose of castles. Sometimes guys are like, you know, I can't defeat this enemy force that's inside a castle. They, you know, they've got 300 defenders and our forces of 1,000. You know, I see posts, and they're not very common these days because we obviously teach siege assault tactics, so do other channels. And they're like, I can't, you know, we can't defeat this castle. Well, you're not supposed to be, right? The original purpose for castles was to make a place where the enemy basically couldn't attack you, right? Where if it was designed well, it could handle, you know, outnumbered 30 to 1, right? Or something crazy like that, right? There were a lot of instances where the enemy would just go somewhere else. And that was the ultimate design. Today we have panic rooms. Rich people have like a panic room. It's kind of the medieval panic room, right? The place you go with your wife and your children and a couple mistresses. And that's where you hang out when things look dire, you know, the medieval castle. And Bannerlord does a pretty good job of it. It doesn't do the way that maybe the medieval era worked, right? In the medieval era, the archers had such nasty locations to shoot from, and they would actually dodge and use these little crenellations, right? They would move back and forth, that, you know, the enemy forces coming in would get shattered by archery fire. But the same kind of principle, the same concept here still works for Bannerlord Siege, right? The enemy is funneled down a ruthless location here. They can't get in. We have those archers over there reenacting the medieval equivalent, right? You can see these guys getting shot in the back here from our far side. And the enemy's cooked. You know, I don't think they can win this thing. Again, barring some kind of surprise, right? All of a sudden the gate blows open here. I think this siege is over. And so I'm going to throw a few javelins here, and I'm going to hit this button right here. We don't do this a lot for siege. It's the ultra fast. Now, reinforcements just poured in. But I could see him like a sluice pouring in directly towards the side that we have defended. Now, all of a sudden, there was some death spam there. So maybe, you know, again, we're premature. It's obviously an insanely large enemy force. But I also still don't see their archers trying to shoot. If they were trying to shoot, I would just get these guys off the wall. But it's working. Shit's working. And we're out of all of our little catapult. We're out of our tricks here, except our little sturdy band of bandits here at the top of the stairs. But I've got enough forces here that even though it's starting to get weakened, right, we're starting to suffer attrition here. They're starting to work their way down. I can just separate these guys, or more accurately, reinforce, right? Take some of this 3rd Division, F3, F5. It's one of the most useful Little commands in the book here. In the 7th Division, I'm going to move you guys just a little bit. There's enough peasants here that even if they come down, right, there's guys standing there with the shield, and that guy got lifted off the ground, right, by that Corsair chief or whatever, wrecked shot and lifted the lifted the guy off the ground. Meanwhile, these guys are shot to death, and their carcasses here are gonna pile up here in comical fashion. And there's a death, right? You see an occasional death, and I also observed the enemy trying to shove through here like linebackers. Like this guy is definitely, he's got one purpose, right? This guy here, hey, you little fucker. He's trying to get to the gate, right? So the AI is doing the smartest thing it could do. Right now, in real life, the best thing they could do here possible would rally, 600 troops in that tower. If this is a human player, that's what I would do. I would just stack all my lads up, right? If you guys were fighting with me, I'd say, yeah, 4th, 5th, and 6th divisions, stack up a huge amount of troops, maybe take some shots from the top of that tower. And once you have 300 troops, you zerg all these locations, firing javelins, trying to get archers to good locations, stuff like that. And I have had a lot of guys say, hey, you're going to do the co-op mode, try that against other players. That there may be a time for that, right? I'm obviously going to have a learning curve too. I've been fighting the AI for a long time, right? I'm going to be like a guy who's not used to it at this stage. That guy's bugged. But I think this siege is over. The attrition looks good. These guys are coming up 6 at a time here. We're going to try this ultra fast forward again. See what it looks like here. Don't see anybody getting through. And that's it. The enemy is fleeing. They've got to have 500 forces left, right? And of course, again, all these injured are coming back. So I'm trying to think of what I want to do here. If we're just going to continue showing the longest siege of all time, this is already probably a 45-minute siege. This is the nature both of real-life siege, though, and Bannerlord siege now, even with mods, right? Even with the Jarl's mods here, where they come wave after wave after wave. I didn't see how many we lost there. I was kind of quick with all of that, but we're getting unbelievable loot and riches here. The question is whether this next stage you need to see this. I don't think you do, right? I mean, I guess, you know what, we're just going to keep on filming here. Did I get the engineering skill? I'm not able to fire the fire catapults because in that case the enemy was right on us, so I wasn't able to get his engineering bumped. I'll leave that point there for now. Now, see if they do anything different. They'll probably wait until they have another 1,000 troops. So it's tempting to just say, we'll see you guys in the exit here. We might not be able to win now, right? We're down to 120 troops. Let's see if we can recruit any prisoners. We'll take all the troops we can. What you really want to see here is a force of 900 Western Empire forces come up, but I see 40, I see 30. They're not coming. So we have an additional catapult. They've got, it looks like just a ram and a tower. And the power bar still looks grim, right? The same scenario applies, but as long as we could jam the enemy up, blow them up with fire catapults, we still have a chance to win this, right? This just long attrition siege. And I'm going to keep you fellas here. In other words, I'm not going to edit. We're just going to stay live here, and maybe this will be the one where we finally lose out. But obviously, eventually, you run out of forces, you run out of troops, you run out of you run out of lives, to use the cat, the cat saying. I'm going to run straight over there now. It seems like the fire catapult is consistently there. I've got this 4th division with me. If the siege ladders are over here, and I think it's random which side the siege ladders are on, if they're over here again, at least I've got this division ready to help me. And this is a regular catapult this time, so you see the variability. There's a little randomness. And the siege tower is over here this time, right? So a little different animal. The enemy's going to start barreling up. And this is interesting. I still want to destroy this catapult. But they're pouring up that other side. And they're going to try to open the door. And the variability makes it hard, right? Now they have a siege tower coming this direction. Although I think I just heard it blow up. I got to get forces over to this other side, right? And try to prevent the enemy from getting to the gate. The tower's down, I think. There's a catapult here, right? So I need these guys right now. And I need these guys right now. And I need some archer support over here right now. I need everything right now. And you can almost argue you need the first division here, right? You need, this is way more important than the gate in the short term, right? So I'm going to put a whole bunch of infantry right here. Basically a bunch of looters. And you have them charge, right? At the beginning here, just very early on here. You want them either charging or standing there, distracting, while I kill the enemy en masse here, right? And also trying to use this. Let's try to destroy the ram again, right? At least I have a tower. Someone hopefully can load this thing here. It's actually a problem. These guys are drawing a huge amount of fire and clogging the shit out of here. Now, did I pull the first division by accident? No. First division's still there. Oh, we have this fourth division as well. So that's clogging it up. All right, that's enough troops there, right? I can bomb these, and hopefully somebody gets on here soon, right? I don't know what triggers that. There should be lads heading to this catapult here, unless I have botched something here. We get a beautiful sunrise here and tons of troops to kill. Yeah, and this guy. You know what's happening is they're being distracted by the forces coming up. So we got to shift gears here, though. And we got a problem. They're going to get through. I can't destroy the ram. So we need archers set up there. We're going to have to get more forces set up in the gate. The reason I can't destroy the ram is because I can't get a good angle on it to throw at this stage, right? So they're getting through the ram. I should try to throw as many of these as I can. It shows the great variability to siege, right? If it was the same as last siege, I think we got this no problem. But because it's different, totally different siege. And I'm going to have to approach it differently. Now, that fire catapult's there. Let's pull these guys here. Third division. Down here. Like there. Fourth division can just be back there. Second division. They're getting shot. Let's pull them to here. Fifth, sixth, seventh. That looks pretty good. I'm going to have rocks in the gatehouse. But we're starting to feel the pressure in this round, right? The enemy's going to start ripping that door open. I got to kill as many of these guys as I can. I'm going to have to fight in this battle, so I need to stay healthy. Can't see the walls fucking getting in my way. Come on, man. Why is the wall in my way here? I'm going to get hit by a javelin trying to see. That looks good. How long can that third division hold up? And I think we're out of archers here, right? In fact, I just lost that rock to where these guys are winding up javelins to hit me. And the rocks should obviously be on the other side. Whoever knucklehead put the rocks there, bad decision, right? That's fail. Now there's fire catapults over there. If I could get to them. These are looters and weak-ass troops. But if there's a lot, they'll kill your troops. They'll kill you, right? Little scrubby looters mixed in with a banner knight, right? That's nasty. We run. And these guys are shriveling fast. All right, fourth division combined with the first. Need more fire down here at 6, 7. 6, 7. Need these guys close. That fourth division is going to be under pressure at some point, but I've got no choice. I've got to have these guys right where they are. And now you target high-end troops if you can, and you hope that that 20 little guys can hold out. Probably can't, right? Where I don't think we can get a 12-to-1 kill ratio in this configuration. There's looters in there. There's a Sea Raider chief holding up his flag, as well as a one-handed weapon. Our archers are in place at least. Right, that's good. There's a chance here the AI routes, right, before they get through. Now they're starting to surround these guys. That's a problem. Right? These are high-end troops attacking us from behind. We're out of fucking ammo. The softest dance music of all time is playing. Random soundtrack giveth and taketh away. And we went out like lions here if we did lose. And look at this gift. I think they might have us, and everybody charge here. We need all these kills. In fact, I'm going to bring the archers out here with me, right? You tell them, get out here. Well, we need to kill as many of these cowards as we can, because we have like 60 troops left or something like that. We have almost no troops left. And you don't want them to turn and start to fight here, but I've got to risk this, right? It simulates the carnage and realism of a situation like this. It would be carnage, right? Commanders would be yelling, stay, fight! We've got it, men! Don't run! And the final siege here is going to be 3 guys sieging. We're going to have 1 defender. That's what this feels like. This is wild. Good job there, militia man. Shoot him. Kill him. That's our wife. Our wife is charging through the sunset after him. Get him, my lady. We've got him. Oh my God, this is ridiculous. We got 38 troops left. Pretty soon you're just cooked here. I think, ironically, I can still break out, right? And at this stage, the skill points are just over the moon, right? I mean, it's getting crazy. I got to pause it here and catch my breath after we get this loot. We're still recording. I'm just going to feed you guys a gigantic long episode today. We're getting awesome loot, right? We should get awesome loot. We're defeating, not over yet, but we're defeating a force of, what, 2,600 or some shit, right? And now it really does look funny. Attack them, right? There's a small chance here the Western Empire just attacks. Their forces beat to shit. And we still didn't get the engineer point. Yeah, not much I can do, but I don't have time to get on a catapult. We're running for our life here at the beginning of these sieges. All right, in we go. I don't need to check that. We've already checked that a bunch. Actually, we wait here and see what happens. Come on, Western Empire, bring some forces in, right? They're going to heal faster than us, and they did attack. How amazing is this, right? We sally out. I think it should be just, oh, baby, you are our prisoner. That's great, man. How do you not love Bannerlord? Especially with some modders, right? Well, here we'll do an actual. That's for you, Jarl Snow. And you modders out there, especially Jarl Snow, of course, because he directly impacted this battle, right? The biggest key is that the enemy didn't rout 37 times here. If you're wondering what I'm talking about, basically he made a mod that I really think Terra Worlds should adopt on some level. They could even tie it to difficulty levels. The enemy's sieging there, right? And they're relentlessly attacking us. They're not giving up easily. If we were using vanilla there, that might have been 7 sieges. And the monotony sets in pretty quick, right? Because it's just over and over again. And, you know, eventually it just sort of wears you down mentally. But because they were so resolute there, they stayed a lot longer. They beat on our different squares. It feels more realistic. Eventually they break. It feels more realistic though. And ultimately what it does is it makes for a sort of uncertainty. Are they ever going to break, right? Are we going to get overwhelmed here? Are they going to break before our forces fall apart? And that was another really good example there, right? We literally have some raggedy forces left. We have 60 troops. We're going to have 100 when everybody heals, but we were literally on fumes at the end of that siege. And I don't think there's any point in us donating the prisoners here. We're going to limp on over to our fleet. And we're going to wrap up the episode right here. That was great. This is the Western Empire comes in at the end. And you don't ever see that, right? The castle, look at the defenders. For a second there was no defenders, 0. There was no militia and no garrison. It's just surrounded by the smell of death after that crazy battle. And we're going to wrap the episode up right here. Hopefully you enjoyed that. I enjoyed it. My hands are sweating, right? That was definitely riveting. And hopefully this campaign has a lot more of that, right? We're going to have a camel army in this campaign. I promise you, even if it's the very last battle here, because the enemy seems never ending. That siege was like that was basically a perfect, encapsulation of what we're facing here. This juggernaut teal tide blowing up the land here. Right now this is a heartening sign. Dirt. And as much as I'm not a fan of Dirt here, he's part of the resistance, right? He's slamming into a Khazate force, getting a little bit too frisky deep in Valandian territory. So it's kind of inspiring, right? And we're with the bearded dipshit, but boy, is he up against it, right? Because there's endless enemy armies seemingly coming in. There's resistance though, right? They're getting the red fist of resistance shoved into the air. And lo and behold, little do the Khazate know, right? The biggest weakness to their plan is the future Bedouin Empire in the south, led by Khazad. I know you want to be part of this campaign, friends. It's one of the most interesting campaigns I've ever been in, right? We're using very few mods here. We're basically using a few mods to make siege defense better. And then guys always ask, what mods do you use? Well, you know, we should have covered it at the beginning. Oftentimes they want to know at the beginning. Put them all, make a big list of it. Well, besides the 2 Jarl Snow mods for Siege, we're not using any mods except the RTS mod and the speed tweak, right? Which is It's like we're not using anything except all of these mods. Those 2 mods are just used to speed the game along, right? To speed battles up and, of course, to move faster on the landscape. You can load up a lot of mods with Bannerlord in every episode. I swear last episode we had 69 troops. 69. You know, you can use all kinds of mods in Bannerlord, but I think they're doing a really good job of making a lot of those mods unnecessary, right? They're giving us party AI control. They're giving us better diplomacy. They're giving us more rebellions, bigger bandit parties, and I think that is great. So I'm not on their payroll, but maybe someday I will be, right? I'll be glad to be an advisor if they ever take me in on something like that. Anyways, I've talked way too long here. I'm really good at that. Thanks for watching, friends. I appreciate your patronage of the channel, watching this great game that we call Bannerlord. Hit that like button on the way out, and I will see you, friends, next time.